Alright, so I'm going to take a look through what our triple stacked mini mating nukes are looking like. They went into winter filled with feed. We stacked them 3 high, and that gave us the ability to insure them as nuke colonies because that left them with the same surface area per colony as a 5-frame nuke. And so I'm just going to tear a couple of these apart and just take a look at what they're doing in there. Is the queen laying? What do they have for feed stores? And different items like that is what I'm going to look for. I'll kind of let you know what I'm seeing as I go through. We might get some close-up shots of the bees as well. So like all my hives, I'm giving them a choice of patty here. So we have the global patty, it's 15% protein or 15% pollen patty, and then we also have the, I believe it's the Ultra Bee patties as well. Give them a choice of both. Just need to grab my smoker. As we take a look here, giving them a little bit of smoke, but in this one here, it's showing bees up on the top level. This one has a few on the one side, and the other two really aren't showing any signs. There is some activity at the entrances on those. You can see some bees coming and going. On those two that aren't showing any activity, a little bit of activity at the entrances, but so there is bees in there, so that's a good sign. Let's take a quick look in there. So I'll leave my disappointments, if there are to be any, on this one to the last, and we'll start on the one that looks like it's jam-packed full of bees. And so that top box, I can assume that it's going to have some feed in it. And it does. Definitely looking like they have a decent amount of feed. This next middle frame looks really good. You can see that they're working on some brood there, and there's some open brood on this one as well. That's a good sign. It really was the idea of what we were trying to do with this setup, is get some brood into these smaller colonies, these mini colonies, and then once we're ready to make some queens, yeah, this one's full of brood both sides. Once we're ready to make some queens, then we're going to break them down into single level boxes, and we can drop the virgin queens in there after they've hatched out or emerged in our incubators. And once that's going, the bees will stick to the brood that's already in the colony, and we won't have the issues of bees abandoning the small colonies early in spring. You get a little bit of cold weather when you set them out, and the bees will kind of just migrate over and make a few strong mini nukes, and the other ones have no bees left in them, and they've kind of abandoned. If you're using cells, we used to always use cells, they'll completely abandon that cell that first day, and you have a lot of wasted time and effort shaking all those bees in there. Also, this way we absolutely don't have to worry about hurting our other colonies when we take and shake bees into these minis later on, because there will be no shaking to be done. I think it's an efficient use of resources to put these together in fall. Just the colonies that have grown within the mini nuke, the queen rearing bee yard, just put them together rather than shaking them out in front of a strong hive or a weak hive. Just put them together and see what happens there. Not much happening on this frame. Sorry folks, my camera cut out there and I'm glad I caught it. I'm just working on my second one here, and the top two of the boxes, there were very little bees in there. I worked down into the bottom box and it's actually fairly full of bees. Really nice brood pattern on there. A couple frames of brood there, so that's all right. Some open brood on this one and a little bit of capped on that side. And there's my queen right there. Can't really see it with the sun the way it is. Here, let's see her there on the mid left side there. Nice blue dot on her from last year. She's doing pretty well for what we gave her for the season. So we'll put that one back together and give them a couple more weeks to fill up these other two boxes. I'm assuming sometime early May is when we're going to start working with the queens. Start doing some grafting, so mid-May is when we're going to be tearing these things down and then making them each their own colony. Into this one had a little bit of activity in that top box, but I kind of doubt, I'm not even going to really worry about it. I can see there's quite a bit of feed here in this top box. The second box is really looking nice on this one. Getting a little blast of that good stuff. Moisture in those frames there and a little bit of feed from last season. Full patch of open brood there. Same thing on this side. So that's really all I need to find, is that open brood tells me there's queen in there. If there's eggs, I can find there's definitely a queen in there. I'm just a little bit nosy, so we're digging down into them, and it's nice to be able to show you on the video. But however this turns out with the shadows, but it's just a big, like almost a full frame here on both sides of cap brood or almost cap brood. So these things are working out exactly the way I had hoped. And it's really early, so I'll probably be able to expand them a few higher and just kind of get that chimney nest working its way up. And my buddy Brad is working on building me some more of these mini frames, and also some more of these boxes. Usually I'll go over to my grandfather's place and use his table saw and his tools there, which has been really nice in the past, but with all the health orders and things going on this year, it just didn't work out, and it's kind of nice to have somebody like Brad that's willing to do some of that work for me. And it's good to be able to support somebody locally or within Manitoba or Canada even when sourcing equipment. So that box looks good. I think there's activity in the bottom one too, so I'm just going to go down there. Maybe I'll find the queen down in there, and we'll just make sure she's in good shape. She's definitely laying like she's in good shape. Well, that's interesting. This bottom box, I only put 4 frames in it, but I won't worry about that today. I'm just here to take a quick look. Nothing happening there. Nothing there. And nothing there. So all the activity in this one was happening in the middle box. And we'll just put them back together the way they were. Don't really want to mess about with them yet. We've got negative temperatures coming in next week. Might even get a big snowstorm is what they're calling for. It's Manitoba spring, so today it's probably close to 20 degrees out here. And 2 days from now it's supposed to be a high of +1 maybe or something like that. Yeah, there's nothing happening in this top box other than feed. It's starting to work in the feed a little bit, but that's about it. Now for this final box, final stack here. Nothing happening in the top. It's got some weight to it. There's some feed in there. Looks like a decent population in the second story. Give them a little bit of marijuana, calm them down a little bit. It's not really marijuana if you're concerned. A little bit of cardboard, a couple pine cones. That's my mix. Yeah, there's a nice patch of brood there. Nice patch of brood on both sides. Beautiful. Exactly what we want. Another really nice full frame of brood. Full frame of brood both sides. So we're definitely going to have to do something with these colonies, because 6 weeks from now, or over the next 6 weeks, because 6 weeks from now they're gonna they're gonna be swarming like anything else. And there's a queen on there, full frame open brood. Something people in this area are gonna have to look out for. We'll see what the weather shakes out as, but I'm thinking people are gonna have to be wary of an early swarming season, early split season here. And I've already pre-sold a bunch of queens. My whole first round for sure, maybe into half of my second round of queens have already been pre-sold. People got to me early, and that's something I noticed here in Manitoba. If you want local queens, you're gonna get them in June. Early June, probably the earliest. And you need to get them lined up early. Oftentimes you can't get them at all. You're gonna want to find somebody making the queens and strike up a relationship and basically tell them, hey, I want X number of queens and I want queens every year. and that way they're gonna get in contact with you. If they're that type of beekeeper, they'll get in contact with you and make sure that you're taken care of, their existing customer base is taken care of before anybody else is, which I think is the right way to do business. You reward those who are loyal to you. But yeah, not much activity in this bottom box. They're moving around in there. They're coming up through the entrance on the bottom, but harvesting a little bit of feed off there. But everything on this one was happening in the second story. So it's not half bad. No disappointments there for me. Everything's looking the way I would like it. Colonies obviously aren't huge, but they're alive, and that's really what we're after.